Yeah.
Well, instead of arming teachers, this is what I think we should do. We should ban gun ownership. That should be our guiding call. It's time to ban gun ownership.
All right, well, he said it, so go ahead and get angry.
Ban gun ownership.
So, by the way, let's just note for the record, because obviously a lot of people in this country, apparently including conservative Supreme Court justices, can't read. The only amendment in the US Constitution that mentions regulation is the Second Amendment. It says a well-regulated militia being necessary. They choose to ignore that completely. So even if you don't agree with Joe's idea of banning guns, which unquestionably would make us safer.
It's all about the guns. And this is, the NRA, a terrorist organization, holding America hostage so that they can perpetuate this fantasy of some kind of eventual revolt against the American government, or they're protecting themselves against, it is unbelievable to me to think that this man who has so little conscience and so little actual bearing could then anger a woman who lost their child. I mean, this is the most difficult kind of story for me to react to because it hurts so badly. And you just think, yes, we have to ban AR-15s. Yes, we have to ban, these types of weapons. And I agree with you. I think we should take a really long look at saying we don't need guns. We don't need guns in our society right now. The death toll is too high. The consequences to our moral conscience is just too high. I don't want to be afraid to walk into a school. I don't want to be afraid to go to a concert. I don't want to be afraid to walk down the street. This is hand in hand with, again, white supremacy, racism, an enforcement of a certain way of thinking about America, which has to expire. And we have to start to talk about how do we bring about peace and how do we bring about, nonviolence.
I'm so sick of people talking about the need for quote unquote reasonable gun control. When unreasonable and obscene things are happening to our kids, the answer isn't let's be reasonable. Let's be unreasonable in the response, which is why it's time for us as progressives to start calling for a ban on gun ownership.
And let's also acknowledge, of course, that we're not even getting reasonable gun control. We're not getting anything.
This is not national security. This is male insecurity. We talk about serial killers, and we can clearly see how that's motivated by sexual violence. And we have to also look at these school shootings. I mean, one of the things that always seems to happen is violence directed at the female students, and then it pushes it further. And the truth of the matter is, we have a sickness, and our men are running towards guns as some way to assert their rage and needing to push themselves up in terms of power. And I think we have to talk about that part of it. I think we have to talk about how this is a male problem, and mostly a white male problem. So when we're talking about gun control, we also have to talk about these issues what is leading our men down this crazy path? What is this misogyny that's taking root? What is this racism that's taking root? It is so deeply upsetting, but we're never going to get to the problem unless we actually start talking about the root of it, which is, I think, deeply psychological. Yes, mental illness, but it's not it's a pervasive type of mental illness in America to think that you need a weapon, a rifle, an AR-15 to become a real man. I think that's crazy.
Can I get the last word?
Yes.
It's time to ban gun ownership.
There you go, that's right. I love the strength. There you go. Time to fight back.